So starting by just kind of rocking around on the block side to side, if that feels good, you can lift the head up with a little rounding in the back, that spinal flexion, maybe trying to arch over the block. And the goal here is just to start moving some of that tissue that's really tight in the upper back, because if our upper back is really tight, we're not going to be able to have that open chested feeling either. So if it feels good to flare the elbows out more, that's going to be a bigger stretch for those chest muscles. So only to the amount that's tolerable you can do elbows out. And we're just getting this nice movement for the shoulder blades on the block. So this is more of an assisted or passive way to get some of this chest opening and thoracic extension. So that upper back ability to kind of arch. And go ahead and just roll to one side just to get off that block. And now we'll take the block between the legs. So it'll come between the knees or the thighs. First, let's check that triple S. So we want to feel as we're lying down, the spine is long, chin is slightly toward the throat. We can feel the back of the skull, the shoulder blades, the sacrum. Hug in on that block a little bit as you lift up into bridge. Low bridge here, using the glutes to lift and lower. Now from our bridge, we're just going to slowly lift and lower, in and out of bridge. So from the mid-back or whatever part is lifted, lower down one vertebra at a time as you hug in on that block. And then once you feel the lowest part of the spine at the sacrum, right above the tailbone, you're going to slowly lift back up. So getting into the spinal mobility as we start to warm up the glutes, getting the hips moving. And as we do this lift and lower, let's stretch out the right wrist. Getting into that wrist extension, try to send that right thumb out to the middle or to the side. So you're getting a stretch in the thumb as well. Nice and slow, continuing that lift and lower. Switch hands, so left palm up, pull back, send that left thumb out to the middle. Keep this segmental lift and lower. Lower the hands, lower the hips down one final time. The block will stay between the knees. You can always adjust the width of the block for our core work. Hands come behind the head, elbows in. Take a breath and really feel that your inhales are expanding into the sides of the rib cage. As you exhale, hug the block, draw the pelvic points in, lift off the shoulder blades. Gaze right toward the block or between the legs. Lean your head back into your hands. Feel the whole front body kind of light up. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, lift up, hug the block. Lean your head back into your hands. Feel those front ribs knit in toward each other. Now keep hugging the block, but let's try to extend the right leg straight or straight-ish. Lower that right foot. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, hug the block. Lift off the shoulder blades. Lean your head back. Left leg extends straight-ish in line with that right knee. Lower that left foot. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, lift up. Hug the block, draw those pelvic points in. Knit the front ribs in to get you off the shoulder blades a little bit more. Right leg extends. Feel your belly button try to pull down toward the ground. And then start to grip your left toes like you're trying to pick up sand with that left foot. Waking up the back of that left leg. Lower the right foot. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hug the block, lift up, lean your head back into your hands, knit those front ribs in, left leg extends, feel the belly button pull down. Now hold all of this as you start to grip the right toes on the mat, holding the pelvic bowl still. Release that little grip on the toes, lower the left foot, inhale and lower down. Good, let's remove that block. Now, arms are going to come to your sides, palms facing up, or if it's available to goalpost here, you could do that as long as your arms are still on the ground. but maybe arms out. Make sure that your ribs don't lift up. So we're keeping that triple S. Feet can come nice and wide. Let the knees drop to the right, but push into your left foot. Like you're lifting up into a bridge here with that left side. So firm that left glute and then bring the knees back up. Let the knees drop to the left, push into the right foot. So we're pushing into that whole right foot, firming that right glute. Do that a couple more times. So it's just a little kind of rock of the knees one side and the other, but we're keeping the shoulder blades on the ground. We're keeping the back of the skull on the ground. So this helps to open the front of the chest muscles, the front of the shoulder muscles with the arms out. Good, let's hug the knees in. Give yourself a little rock side to side, maybe up and down. And we'll head into a quadruped. So coming onto hands and knees. Hug those knees in so that they're under the hips, shoulders over the wrist. We'll start with some movement in the shoulder blades. So what I want you to think about is locate your shoulder blades on the back of your ribs, those triangular bones kind of right under the shoulders. Think about your shoulder blades pushing through the body, like you're pushing your shoulder blades through the chest toward the ground in this position. And that will soften the chest down and then push the ground away. Spread those shoulder blades apart to protract. Again, we'll soften the chest down toward the ground without bending the elbows. So it's just happening in the chest and shoulder blades. And then push the ground away, spread the shoulder blades apart, protracting. Try that a couple more times. So it's this softening of the chest down without bending the elbows that helps that open chest feeling. It helps open the tissues at the front of the chest and shoulders. Keep that neutral neck though. So lifting the front of the throat. Now let's find a neutral position for the shoulder blades. A little bit of that feeling of softening the chest down, probably if protracted is a more natural position for your posture. So find neutral, hold still, slide the right toes back, lift your belly up. Now firm that right glute right away, float the right leg up, and let's bend the knee. Tiny pulses here with this right hip, getting into hip extension. Really using this right glute. Now we want to keep that feeling of the chest slightly softening down toward the ground so that our shoulder blades are staying in that neutral position. The chest is staying open, so we're not dropping those shoulders forward toward the ground. Good, release back to quadruped. Couple more times, let's do that protracting, spreading apart of the shoulder blades. And then shoulder blades draw in as the chest softens down, but we don't bend the elbows. So only happening at the shoulder blades, the upper back, the pelvis is staying still, the head is staying still. Find neutral. So soften the chest down slightly with the arms straight. Picture that broom behind your back, touching your triple S as you slide the left toes back. Firm that left glute, float the leg up. Bend the left knee without changing the spine. Tiny pulses in that left hip. So we're trying to lift the back of that left leg up toward the ceiling without arching the back here. So holding the core nice and strong. Strong arms. Trying not to let the ears drop below the shoulders. Lower it down. Let's give the wrists a break. Any type of child's pose. As you sit the hips back, if the arms are forward, you could always have them elevated on blocks. You could stay on fingertips. But let's think about in our child's pose, lifting the front ribs up and away from the ground. Like you're trying to lift the whole chest up, the armpits up. So not sinking down, but getting this nice active opening. You might feel this along the side body. You might feel it up under the armpit, near the shoulder, front of the chest. Getting this upward lift in child's pose, breathing into the side and back ribs. Let's bring it forward and cat-cow. Let's stretch that all out. So we've already been getting into the upper back muscles quite a bit, starting to feel maybe a little bit more open at the front of the chest. And just feel that same thing as you cow and arch the back. We're getting that same softening of the chest down, but now the whole spine goes with it when we add cat-cow. We've already kind of moved that area quite a bit with that quadruped movement. Heading into down dog, we'll pause in our cat position. So that rounded position, really push your hands into the ground. Keep the same amount of weight in your hands. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips straight up. Down dog, letting the feet walk in as much as you need to soften the knees. Lift those hip creases up. So again, we're still pushing just as much weight into the hands. Feeling the ribs lift up. Even here, almost like the armpits are trying to lift up like we did in our child's pose. You can stay and pedal the feet out. You can super bend the knees and shrug the shoulders here, pushing the floor away, lifting the shoulder blades up toward the ears, and then sliding them back down. So that's just another option that's great for the upper back and neck, the shoulders. Let's walk it back for a happy squat. Huge bend in the knees. Hands can be as elevated as you need to lengthen the spine, but you can let the neck release. And just if it feels good, little movement with the head side to side. Letting gravity just assist in this neck, maybe upper back. Stretch. Push down into the feet. Let's rise up. Find that neutral position at the back of the mat. And let's feel that triple S here. Ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the ribs, ribs over the pelvis. And let's check with the shoulders. Are we really kind of in this forward position? Can we feel the head of the arm bones draw back so the collarbones are drawn? Hands are going to come behind the head. Let's stagger walk. So right foot steps forward. Soften the knees as much as you need to hold that triple S. Elbows will start in. Bring the chin down. Lean or lift your skull up into your hand. And then lift the chest back up. Flare the elbows as wide as you can. Think about lifting your sternum, your breastbone straight up toward the ceiling without the ribs moving forward. So the ribs haven't changed, but we're really opening the chest. And then just come to a neutral. Step your left foot forward. Stagger walk. Soften the knees. Elbows start in. Chin down. Lift your skull up into your hands. Good. Lift back up. Flare the elbows, but really restrain the ribs from popping as you lift the chest up. So getting that open chest, almost back bendy feeling, but just in the upper back. Neutral. Let's do that 2 more times. Step the right foot forward. Soften the knees. Elbows in. Chin down. So a little rounding here. And then lift back up. Open the elbows, don't let the ribs move forward, but lift the chest up. So it's a really active, small movement, big feeling. Back to neutral. 1 more time. Left foot steps forward. Soften the knees. Open the elbows, lift the chest. Keep that tailbone reaching down. And then back to neutral. Good. Stepping it all the way forward. Let's do a little sun salutation 1. Feel that triple S as much as the knees need to bend. Bend to keep the pelvis neutral. Arms reach forward and up. Lift the shoulder blades way up toward the ears. Lift the rib cage up. Exhale, huge bend in the knees. Hands come all the way forward. Bent knee forward fold. Right foot steps backwards. Lower the knee. And the top of the foot, we're in low lunge. Rise up. And again. Ears over the shoulders, shoulders right over the rib cage over the pelvis. Let's firm this right glute. Goalpost the arms. So let's have elbows coming right out of the shoulders, not down. Getting that same open chest, open heart feeling, just like we did in quadruped. Push your shoulder blades forward through the chest And that's gonna make the arms move back a little bit, but it's super active. So my back muscles are actually doing this movement to get that opening in the front of the chest and shoulders, but we're keeping the ribs in, we're keeping the pelvis neutral. Front of the throat moves back a little bit. Good, hands come down, quadruped, let's cat-cow. Moving all that around. We're working the back muscles so much to open the chest. From cat-cow, right foot steps forward. Left knee stays down. We're in that same 90-90 lunge on the other side. Pelvis is neutral. Picture that broom behind you. So make sure the head's not forward, but ears over the shoulders. Goalpost the arms. Now get that same feeling. Our arms draw back without arching the back because our shoulder blades are pushing forward through the body. Good. Beautiful opening in the chest there. Firm that left glute. Breathe into the ribs. Good, hands come forward. Let's step the left foot forward to meet the right for that bent knee forward fold. Really push into the feet, arms reach forward and up. Get those shoulder blades up toward the ears like you're lifting your armpits up. Exhale, hinge. Hips move back, torso comes forward. Big bend in the knees. Left foot steps back now. Lower the knee, but not the toes as long as that feels okay on the knee and the left foot. Lifting into that same low lunge. Ears over the shoulders, over the ribs, over the pelvis. Now we're gonna bring the backs of the hands to the sacrum, the lower back. If that's where you get, then that's okay on your shoulders. Stick with this or interlace the knuckles, but we're not clasping hands and straightening. We're just feeling the knuckles maybe, or even just backs of the hands. Same feeling here, shoulder blades draw together without arching the back. So same opening at the front of the shoulders. They're in a little bit of internal rotation right now. Move the front of the throat back so ears are over the shoulders. Good, hands come down. Quadruped again, let's cat-cow. Push the floor blades, you spread the shoulder blades apart. Good, get as much movement as you can in the spine. And notice how the upper back is feeling. Step your left foot forward, low lunge, right knee is down, but we'll tuck the toes. Lift up, same 90-90, picture that broom. Let's do backs of the hands toward the sacrum, right above the tailbone. Maybe it's just backs of the hands, maybe fingertips interlace. Now, think about head of the arm bones moving back to open that tissue at the front of the shoulders. Shoulder blades can draw in toward the spine a little bit, but don't let those ribs pop forward. Keep the tailbone down, pubic bone lifting up. Breathe into the ribs. Hands come forward. We're going to step the right foot forward to meet the left. Bent knee forward fold. Pushing down into your feet, reach the arms forward and up. Shoulder blades lift. We're going to start sequence 1. Exhale, hinge without rounding. So big bend in the knees. Right foot steps back. We're starting the same way. Lower the knees, but not the toes. Low lunge. Find that triple S. Right glute is nice and firm to hold the pelvis neutral. Fingertips are going to reach down. Now actively reach your fingertips down toward the ground as much as you can. And as you reach down, think about your right thigh bone lifting up into the pelvis. So we're getting this little opposite pull, little tension in the front of that right hip. Hands come down, quadruped. Just like we did in the reset, let's get that movement with our shoulder blades. So we lift the front of the throat. We've still got that triple S, so we're not losing that. Our core is working, but we're gonna soften the chest down. Shoulder blades slightly draw in without bending the elbows, and then push the ground away. A couple times, soften the chest down without bending the elbows. Push the ground away. So it's probably a really small movement, but that's okay. We're working the shoulder blades, Good, down dog. Tuck the toes. Weight stays in the hands as we lift the hips. If you need to shorten a stance, feet walk forward. Big bend in the knees. Again, you can pedal the feet out if that feels good. You can add those shoulder shrugs, gliding the scapula up and down the back. So ears get close to the shoulders, and then they draw away from the ears. Big bend in the knees. Let's walk it forward. Bent knee forward fold. Push down into your feet, and let's rise up. Lower the hands, step your right foot back and turn to the right. Arms come out, side lunge to the right, keep that triple S. Rotate the ribs maybe an inch to the right. Don't worry about turning the head, just keep the neck neutral. Unwind, side lunge left. Keep everything in line as you turn the ribs left. And bring it back, keep going, alternating at any speed here. Maybe it's slow and gentle, maybe it's a little bit quicker, but we're still working the core. We're working those upper back muscles to keep the arms out. And rise up, just step it right back to the front of the mat. We'll do that first sequence on the second side. Arms reach forward and up, shoulder blades lift, tailbone down. Exhale, hinge. Spine stays long. Left foot steps back. Lower the knee, but not the toes. We're in our 90-90. Left glute is firm. Make sure the head's not forward, so ears over shoulders, arms reach down. Now reach down toward the ground like you're trying to touch your fingertips toward the ground. So super active in the arms. As we reach down, our shoulder blades are even drawing down the back a little bit. That's called depression of the shoulder blades. And then keep tightening that left glute, zippering the pubic bone to the belly, not letting the head and neck drift forward. Good, hands come down for quadruped. Moving the scapula here, so chin is slightly toward the throat. We're not dropping the head down. The pelvis is staying still as we soften the chest and then push the ground away. Chest starts to lower toward the ground without bending the elbows. Push the floor away. And as you get this movement in the upper back and the shoulder blades, try not to fully cat-cow. So we're not moving the lower back. The pelvis is still. It's really just the chest and the shoulder blades. Down dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Weight stays in the hands. Any option here, you could even swivel side to side if that feels good. Let's take a couple breaths here, checking in with that 360 breath. Walk it forward, bent knee, forward fold. Push down into the feet. Let's reach the arms forward and up. Good. Step that left foot back. Turn to the left. Side lunges, arms out, nice and strong. Keep that open chest feeling as you side lunge with a little rotation, but don't turn the head and neck. Think about what the shoulder blades are doing here. Can you feel them slightly draw in toward the spine? Pelvis is staying neutral. Good, turn it back to the front. Quadruped. Let's cat-cow. Any pace that feels good. If you'd rather be in another down dog, moving there. Do whatever you need for the next couple breaths. Let's come to a seated position just for a moment. Any type of seat. We will make our way back onto the ground, but let's pause here and then check in. Ears over the shoulders. And then let's roll one shoulder back at a time. And as you roll the shoulder back, make sure you can feel the shoulder blade moving. So it's not just the head of the arm bone rolling, but we want the shoulder blade to glide up, draw in and down the back. So we're getting all those same muscles involved. Notice what the front of the chest feels like. Does it feel a little bit more open? Do you feel a little bit less forward? Right arm will reach up. Now reach like we did toward the ground. Reach your fingertips up, 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 like you're really trying to touch the ceiling, but keep those front ribs from popping forward. Reach up toward the left corner. So we're not thinking down so much as keeping this lift in the shoulder blade. You can let the left ear release to the shoulder. And then if it feels okay, let's maybe backstroke here. Circle that right arm back. You can always bend the elbow here into a goalpost if a straight arm does not feel good on that right shoulder. So just within your range, breathing into the right side of the ribs. And then float it back up and we'll switch. So left arm reaches up. Get those fingertips up toward the ceiling. Notice how the armpit lifted all the way up toward the ear. Keep the ribs from popping forward and reach it up and over toward the right. But really think up rather than down. So we're keeping that nice long spine and just getting a little bit of a side bend. It's called lateral flexion. And then add that circle, maybe with the elbow bent as you circle it around. Or it could be a straight arm. You might hear a little clicking, a little noise as you move and mobilize that left shoulder. And float it back up. We're going to head onto our backs. And we'll start just flat on our back with that triple S. So check in with the back of the skull on the ground, the shoulder blades, the sacrum. Notice if you feel any different in the front of the chest and shoulders. Pick up your right foot, cross it over for a figure 4. Maybe arms reach out here, palms up, if that feels good, to continue opening the tissues at the front of the chest. If it feels good to float the left foot up into this figure 4, you can do that without grabbing and pulling. You can be totally still. If it feels good to add a little bit of rocking side to side on the sacrum, you can do that. But whatever you're doing, feel that you can still feel the shoulder blades on the ground without those shoulders popping up toward the ceiling. So that nice open chest feeling. The chest and the collarbones are broad, shoulders aren't rolling forward toward them. Release that left foot down if it's up, and then the right foot, recheck that triple S. Left foot comes up and we flex it. Externally rotate the hip as we cross it for figure 4. Stay right where you are, or maybe that right foot comes up. Add that movement if that's what's going to feel best for the next couple breaths. Little rocking side to side if you want. As you inhale, feel the breath push into the side and back ribs. Release the feet down. We're going to keep the knees bent and roll onto the right side. So we're coming into a little thoracic rotation. Left hip is stacked over the right, head releases down. You can also have the block under the head here if that feels better for the neck. Open this left arm up and back. And again, you have the option to goal post if that feels better than a straight arm. But let's try to get the palm up. Do a couple circles here. So big sweeping circles toward the front of the mat. Back over toward the right, up to the back of the mat, open it out. So just a little bit more movement in those chest wall tissues and that left shoulder. And this time we come into that twist to the left, regardless of where the arm is. Straightness wise, let's take the right hand over toward the front of the left shoulder or left chest, maybe near the collarbone, and you're just gonna gently glide the hands out toward the shoulder. A little bit of soft tissue work here, and just a couple times, as much as it feels good. Glide those hands out toward the shoulder. You might feel surprisingly tight or tender here. Most of us tend to be pretty tight at the front of the shoulders. And then let's release it, roll to the left side. Same thing here, starting in that thoracic rotation, arms reach over toward the side, open the arm out with some of those big circles. And this time, pause in your twist. Elbow can be bent or straight. Take the other hand right under the collarbone and just with as much pressure as it feels good, slide the tissues out. So we're not pushing down and back in toward the sternum so much as we're getting a little traction and sliding the tissues outward toward the shoulder. And then you might notice as we get closer and closer to the shoulder, it might feel a little bit more tender there. So just a little bit of glide in the tissues. Unwind out of that twist. You can again rock side to side if that feels good. You can take a happy baby if you'd like. Making your way back into a seated position. Eyes will close. And as you take a few more breaths in and out, take a moment to thank yourself for your practice today. Sending one grateful thought out into the universe.